it's really important to start looking at the food. Processed food is dead food. As we were talking about scalar frequencies and making the water alive and more living and healing, processed foods is dead food. And not only does processed food not give you energy, it actually steals ATP from your body. So here you are, think about this. You're eating food for energy
Mhm.
and it's taking away energy from your body. So why do you think then your body craves more? Because you haven't given it energy. Now you'll never binge on a ribeye bison. Why? Because that bison is full of nutrients that your body says, okay, now I've got it. This is great. This feels good. I'm done. I don't need to eat anymore. So with with that, I mean, the spike protein is making all of this worse. Processed foods are making all of this worse, and we're just in this state now where chronic disease and unexplained weight gain is rampant. And that would be my client's biggest complaint to me right now.
I would agree. I hear that a lot from my personal chef clients and people in my Starseed Kitchen community. They're trying to figure out why they have inflammation, they're retaining water, they keep getting heavier, but they're eating real food. They can't figure it out.
Yeah.
We all try to control our stress. We're all trying to drink better quality water. Um, but, you know, people are still struggling to feel that balance and feel good in
Yeah.
their body.
So I would just want to dive into this a little more, the reasons for this unexplained weight gain, because
Yeah.
over the last few years, the stress has been so high that even on a good day, you don't even realize how stressed your body is. And you have this perceived stress that is increased. So what happens then is cortisol, that stress hormone, can have a complex effect on fat metabolism and weight gain. So it's released by the adrenal glands in response to stress in acute or short term. This is okay. It mobilizes stored energy. And so you actually might burn extra fat just in the short term. But then what happens is that that long-term cortisol will actually say, okay, I need to survive here. I'm going to flip that survival switch and I'm going to slow down my metabolism. I'm going to turn that T4 not into free T3, which is my good metabolism fat burning hormone, but I'm going to turn it into reverse T3, shut down my metabolism because I don't know when I'm going to eat again because I'm in a famine or I'm going to be chased by a tiger. And that's going to lead to weight gain. And then you've got appetite and cravings. So a lot of people experience increased appetite and cravings for high caloric sugary foods. And that fat storage, I call it the dirty cupcake. You are gaining weight without eating a morsel of chocolate. It's going to lead to fat storage. Your body's going to say, no, I need to store fat. I need to particularly store abdominal fat to protect my organs.
Mm.
And that cortisol is stimulating the storage of energy as fat in that area. And then you have the insulin resistance. So it's actually leading to insulin resistance, which is disrupting blood sugar regulation on top of the fact that your insulin resistant might be worse from eating some of the foods that you reach for when you're stressed. And then you have the processed foods, which we just talked about, are the fact that people just see them as, normal foods. They don't think about it because, oh, it's an organic, ketogenic, low carb protein bar. That is processed foods, people. Most of these processed foods are high caloric and they've taken out the fiber that slows down the digestion and slows down your ability to say, oh, I've had enough to eat, right? So think about it. It takes probably 5 oranges to make a glass of orange juice. You drink a glass of orange juice and you'll still want something for breakfast. If you try to eat 5 oranges, you're going to throw up because that fiber is telling you I've had enough. And then the processed foods have these added sugars that may or may not even taste sweet, these different artificial sweeteners, and then also fructose, which leads to an increase in caloric consumption, and it's metabolized differently than glucose. It's processed in the liver and directly converts into that liver fat that we were talking about with the kids and now 45% of adults. It steals that ATP, so then you're tired, so you then want to eat more, and that has been linked to that unexplained weight gain. And these processed foods have no nutrition, you guys. You know, even our soils are so depleted of the nutrients, and it's hard to get our nutrients from our vegetables and fruit nowadays. That's why I always talk about wild animal protein being the basis, because that's where you're going to get most of your nutrients. But you look to processed foods, the vitamins, minerals, fiber, it's all gone. It's all been sucked out. And if it's even in there, it's causing leaky gut, so you're not even absorbing what it is. And then the gut is looking for specific nutrients like amino acids from the protein and the omega-3 fatty acids to trigger the hormone that says, okay, I am good. I've had enough to eat. And that hormone is CCK. Processed foods don't have these nutrients, don't trigger that appetite suppressant. And then it says, I want to eat more. So here you're eating and you actually are being triggered. So not just because you're not getting that trigger of CCK, but then that fructose is addictive because sugar has 3 pathways to the brain to trigger addiction. And these foods are also full of unhealthy fats. And according to Mercola and other leading experts, LA or the unhealthy trans fats and seed oils are actually what are causing insulin resistance more than the sugar. They are causing inflammation at the cellular level, and these fats don't leave the body for over a year. So you eat real sugar, it's in and out of your body in a day. You eat these seed oils that are found in organic soups at stores like Whole Foods. You think you're eating something healthy, and they will have an organic canola oil in them. That's canola oil, guys. That's a seed oil. That's inflammatory, and that's going to actually raise your insulin resistance, which is going to lead to weight gain. And all of the additives and preservatives, they're going to affect metabolism. They essentially are not recognized as real food. The body sees them as toxins. So what does the body do in a survival state, right, when it sees a toxin? And mind you, this is just from the processed foods. Not even the toxins, the chlorine from our water, the bromide from, Whitney and I live in Southern California. If there's a fire, they are dumping bromide on us as fire retardant. You've got ingredients and things that are being used in the United States that are illegal in Europe. But all of those things are toxins. So what does our body do? It encapsulates those toxins and stores it in the fat because we need to get those toxins out of our blood. These foods totally alter our gut microbiome as well. The emulsifiers, the additives cause leaky gut, inflammation, malnutrition, and if you've got any of those issues, that's going to cause weight gain. And the fructose particularly, as I've talked about, increases insulin resistance at an accelerated level. And this is not the fruits and vegetables and honeys that I'm talking about. So fructose increases liver fat on its own. It elevates triglycerides on its own because fructose, the high blood triglyceride levels are associated with insulin resistance and an elevated risk of heart disease. Now, this is separate from the fact that the spike protein is elevating triglycerides and cholesterol levels on blood tests. I've had people come to me saying, I'm on a carnivore diet, Sarah. I haven't changed a thing over the last 3 years. Look at my cholesterol levels. Look at my triglycerides. And it's pretty shocking. There's no other reason for it. It's also fructose impairs insulin signaling. So on top of causing insulin resistance on its own, fructose disrupts insulin signaling pathways, which interferes with normal functioning of the insulin receptors, making insulin resistance even worse. So this is away from the fact that the sugar on its own is doing it. And then it's increasing uric acid levels. So uric acid, what we're finding is if uric acid is under control, then insulin resistance won't happen. And guess what helps control uric acid? Is copper. So here we have a copper depleted environment or population. So uric acid levels increase. Then you have all of these other factors causing insulin resistance, causing, then you have the spike protein, and that spike protein is increasing insulin dysregulation, water retention, oxidative stress, and inflammation, and then everyone's copper deficient. And so this happens through multiple different mechanisms. Copper inhibits something called the polyol pathway, a metabolic process responsible for converting glucose into sorbitol and fructose. So then you have your glucose turning into more fructose than what you're even eating. In the absence of copper, the uric acid levels rise, and then insulin resistance gets worse. Then copper also regulates triglycerides and liver fat. It also manages the iron levels, and that is really important for, that's addressing the root cause of oxidative stress. And I've talked about radiation a little bit, but whether it's non-ionizing or ionizing radiation, it's been linked to an elevated insulin resistance. So you can be changing from your Motorola 1996 cell phone to now your 14, right? Your iPhone 14. And just that increase in radiation is actually going to cause more insulin resistance. I haven't touched food. And so it's going to cause increased oxidative stress, free radical damage, DNA damage, contributing to an increased risk of onset dementia and, of course, cancer. It's going to cause the body to lower its metabolic rate, increase insulin resistance, because insulin resistance is a survival mechanism. It tells your body to store more fat for survival. And then it will have the toxins and radiation are needed to be stored in those larger fat cells to shield the vital organs from potential harm. And then it also reduces ATP and energy. So then you add in the xenoestrogens. So this is causing, and these are from our cleaning products, from the hormones in our water. Did you know, you women, not just you women out there, but you men are all on birth control? That is in our waters. And you need to look to your water filters. But these hormones are depleting our men and our women of testosterone, causing a estrogen dominance, causing fat cell function, causing an increase in that fat tissue, causing issues with insulin again, disrupting the thyroid function. And the thyroid hormones play a crucial role in regulating metabolism. Xenoestrogens love to attach themselves to the thyroid. And the xenoestrogens also may affect the brain's control of appetite. That's why you might be even more hungry and you don't know why. And the dirty liver. So the dirty liver is a huge part of the unexplained weight gain, because as I mentioned, you have all of these things stacking up on each other and the liver can't process it all. Well, the liver's the master detox organ, plays a pivotal role in producing estrogen binding protein. And when the liver is functioning less than normal, or it's burdened with the toxins, this becomes very challenging, and that backup causes the T4 not to be able to convert into T3. That happens in the liver. When I do my liver flushes, I literally feel my thyroid turn back on the next day. I release a whole bunch of water retention, and I feel so much more energy. So that's why I recommend for most of my listeners to do a liver flush at least every 2 months. I try to do them once a month, and it's really easy to do. It's not a big deal. And then leaky gut. So from the stress, from the processed foods, from antibiotics, from the pathogens, mycotoxins, all of these things cause leaky gut. And that's going to cause weight gain because your gut is not taking in the nutrients, and you've got all these harmful bacteria that are taking over the good guys, right? And I believe we talked about it last time with just the wrong healthy proteins, like the amyloid proteins, or the sulfur foods, like the cruciferous vegetables, or the oxalates. All of those will cause leaky gut, cause the bad guys to overtake the good guys, and then you have a completely disrupted gut that will lead to unexplained weight gain. So with that being said, that's where I've come up with my cleanses to help people have this nice package of supplements that increase their energy so they feel great day one, increase that ATP with the acceleridine and the accelerated keto and the accelerated thyroid, which we haven't mentioned. That increases the thyroid, detoxes the thyroid of the toxins that that most people have, and gets the metabolism ramped up so you feel good day one, but you're also cleaning the liver and cleaning all the cells all at the same time. And then you think, oh, well, I've got thousands of calories on my body to burn in fat stores. I don't need to eat. So now I can actually incorporate some intermittent fasting, heal the gut. Oh, and by the way, I have more energy to go to the gym, and I'm going to lift some weights that are a little heavier than I did last week. And oh, my insulin resistance is coming down. And so I'm sleeping better because the sugar spikes and dips are not waking me up in the middle of the night. And then it preps the body for a liver flush that you might want to do. And then you take that whole healing level to another optimal level. And by the way, all of these things are working synergistically so that your body is a fine-tuned machine and ready to take on the next challenge.
So